Good day there guys, welcome to your tutorial. In this video we're going to be looking at pipes. So I have an Angular application set up here. It's from one of our previous videos. It's basically the notes. So basically if we head over to the UI, this is pretty much what it looks like. I'm just going to be showing you how to work with pipes. I'm going to be taking you through how to use the built-in pipes because there are built-in ones. I won't be going through all of them, but I will be showing you a few. I'll show you basically just how to use them, how to use pipes with various arguments. I'll go through how to chain pipes, and I'll also go through creating a custom pipe. So that's basically what we'll be covering in this video. Let's get things started. So at the moment I just have a variable. It's called heading, and that's basically what's displaying over here. So if you have a look, you can see all nodes over here in the heading property. So basically one of the built-in pipes we have is lowercase. So I use the pipe is basically with this, which is basically called a pipe operator, and we basically put in the name of the pipe. And look, all pipes are essentially just simple functions. They are essentially just functions which you can use basically in your template. So heading over to the UI, you can see it's all lowercase. I can change lowercase to be uppercase, and then we'll see that change over there. So these are quite simple. These are built-in pipes. These are quite simple in terms of having no arguments. If you get into things with arguments, so let's say we use the slice pipe. So we have slice. Now slice basically has arguments. So for example, slice, you want to slice from a certain character to another character. So for example, to separate the arguments in with the slice pipe or with pipes in general, we basically use the colon. So for example, at this case I want to start at the 0 index, and then to add another argument we use the colon again, and I want to end at 5. So this is basically the way that, for example, you'll see when we set up a custom pipe as well. But basically this slice pipe takes in arguments, and how we separate those arguments is with the colon. And once we set up the custom pipe, you'll actually see how this looks from the actual pipe point of view. So where we actually create this this function. So just heading over to the UI to show you what this looks like. So you can see it has cut our string by what we specified. So next thing I want to look at is actually chaining pipes. So we saw that we can slice pipes, and we can see it cuts off as we want. We can also add another pipe. So let's say we want to make this all uppercase. We're going to use the pipe operator, and we just type in uppercase. Once you save that, you'll see that that's basically how we chain pipes. You can see the slice has applied, and then also it has converted it to uppercase. So something to note is, for example, how you can kind of view this is the output of this will basically be the input to the next one. So you can see it sliced first, and then it basically transformed all the characters to uppercase. So that's basically the built-in pipes. You can have a look at the Angular docs for full list of those pipes, but essentially they work the same. So I've covered basically how you can use a default one with no arguments. I've showed you how to use a pipe with arguments, and I'll show you how to chain pipes. They pretty much work the same. It's just different pipes. And now we're going to look at how to create a custom pipe. So for this pipe that I want to create, I'm basically going to display the heading as is, and then I want to add the amount of characters in brackets next to it. So basically our pipe is just going to transform or return a string, which will be the exact same heading but just with the amount of characters in brackets. So let's see how that looks. I'm just going to clean up this over here, and so that we can get our original heading back. And I'm just going to go ahead and create a folder, and in this folder I'm going to create a class. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to create a folder. I'm going to call it pipes, and in this pipes folder I'm basically just going to create a file. I'm going to call it format-pipe, and then once I do this, I'm going to say export class, and this is going to be called format pipe. So for the pipe, we essentially, there's a couple things. So the first thing is that pipes use a pipe decorator. So essentially, in the same way that we use a component decorator, the pipe has its own decorator, which is basically pipe, and that's basically what would mark this class as being a pipe. The second thing is the class of the pipe actually implements something called the pipe transform. So basically, this basically comes with a function which you'll need to implement, which is basically the only function, which is the transform function, which will actually not transform, but will actually execute the code that you want when this pipe is called. So this is basically just a interface that that this class needs to implement, essentially for the pipe to work as expected. And you can see I actually can't continue because it's an interface, and there's a function that we need to basically implement. So I'm going to just go ahead and do that. So before I get to the actual transform function, I'm just going to give this pipe a name. So I'm just going to say name, and I'm going to name this format. So for now, it's just going to be format. Something to note is also by default, pipes are pure. So meaning that Angular will essentially only execute this pipe after every pure change. So a pure change would be something like a string or number that basically changes, and Angular will execute it. So for example, at the moment we have a string over here. It also execute for a object reference. You can change a pipe to be impure, but we're not going to be covering impure pipes in this tutorial. But that's also something you should do. I suppose most of the time you'd come across pipes as being pure functions. You should use impure pipes with caution, and actually check out, do a bit of reading in terms of the effects of actually using an impure pipe. But yeah, most of the time you should come across just being pure pipes with simple transformations. In this case, we're going to do a simple transformation here in terms of returning a string with a just with additional characters, which should be the length. So as I said, by default they are pure. And by default the transform then should be a pure function. So if you're not sure what a pure function is, that's essentially just a function which doesn't have any side effects, so basically no mutations or anything like that. And that's pretty much what we're going to be doing here. So we're going to be taking in a value, and we're going to be returning a new string, and that's pretty much what we're going to be doing. So in this case we have a transform. We have the value, which is basically the value coming in, and then we're not going to have any arguments in our case, and I'm just going to clear that. So our pipe is very simple. We're basically just going to be returning the string, which is the value. So we have value, which is the original value, and then also we are going to be returning the amount of characters. So I'm just going to say value.length. So this is our very simple pipe, essentially just showing you how this works. I mean, you can go ahead and create whatever you'd like to execute in this pipe, but essentially this is pretty much what it looks like. And I'm just going to, the next thing we actually need to do is we need to declare this pipe in our module. So by default it won't be included until we declare it in the declarations. So over here I'm just going to go ahead and say format pipe and just fix my imports. Once that's imported, we can now use this pipe by name. So I can copy this and then head over to the node component over here. Use it in exactly the same way as the built-in pipes. So nothing special in terms of anything you have to do in the template. So I'm just going to paste format, save that. And once I head over to the UI, you'll see now it displays the heading as expected, and then with our additional character length. So this is basically the amount of characters in in this. And that's pretty much what our pipe is doing. That pretty much covers the basics of using pipes in Angular and just setting up a very basic pipe to get you going. So that's pretty much all I want to cover in this tutorial. Hope you guys enjoyed the video. I'll see you guys next time, and don't forget to like and subscribe. Thank you.